like this.
Eyewitness video is coming in from all over the world. Terrifying machines flying out of these meteors. Get away from that! Get out of there! I'm coming for you now!
Welcome back to the Nerdy Grail. Now, quick question for you lot. What does the 2025 Snow White movie, Screamboat, and Popeye's Revenge all have in common? Well, I've got a little clip here to show you what I mean.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Oh, did you figure it out? If your answer was that all three of those movies were 50 billion times better than the movie that I just watched, then you would be absolutely correct. Because this movie is absolute dog shit. It is the worst movie that I have seen in 2025. And like the movies that I was just comparing it to, that's saying a lot for it to take over films like Screamboat, Snow White, and in particular, Popeye's Revenge, which if you've seen my review on Popeye's Revenge, you know my hatred for Popeye's Revenge and how rubbish I thought that was. But oh my god, this takes the cake. And I watched this yesterday with my fiance, who's massively into War of the Worlds, massively into the novel that it's based on, has watched the musical, has watched most adaptations of it, and she was in absolute disbelief at how much they fucked this up. And me not seeing any of those other adaptations of it, me just sitting at it from the point of view of just as a moviegoer, and I thought it was absolute garbage. So if I ever go back to watching the other versions of the movie, I'm sure I'll be even more insulted. But wow, what on earth was this? So let me just pause the video and we'll do a bit of a breakdown or a rant of the 2025 movie War of the Worlds starring Ice Cube. Like I said, and I'm prefacing this right from the start, I'm going at this from the point of view of a movie. Just as a movie, not as a fan of War of the Worlds, any of the previous adaptations, or the musical, or the novel that was written by H.G. Wells. You know, I'm going at it just as a movie. Obviously, I know all the background from it. I know that obviously this is an IP that has been done time and time again in many different movies and stuff. But I'm just going at it from a movie perspective. And I can safely say that this was an absolute travesty of a movie. It was terrible. We watched it on Amazon Prime, and you can definitely tell why. You can see why it wasn't put out into the cinemas, because if this was put out into the cinemas or in the theatres or wherever you're from, it would flop. No one would go to see it after the first day because it was atrocious. We were checking the time of this movie every 15 minutes. It is only 89 minutes long, but it feels like 890 minutes long. It is a slogfest from start to finish, and within the first 15 minutes of the movie, my fiance turned to me and said, "Oh boy, this better not be all that it is." And I said, "I've heard some reviews, and yes, I'm afraid it is." Okay, so like I said, it was released late July. I think it was July 30th, 2025. So it's been out for like 2 or 3 weeks now. It's been out for a fairly long time. I've only just got round to watching it. I was avoiding it, if I'm perfectly honest, because I'd heard nothing but bad things. But I sort of caved in, like what most people do. You cave in eventually, especially when everyone's going on about how rubbish it is. This is the worst thing. And it was in particular when I checked out, at the time of doing it, the Rotten Tomatoes score of this movie, which at the current time of doing it, it was sat at 3%. But I remember it was actually sat at 0% a little while ago and stayed at 0% for a long time. So it's currently, at the time of me doing this video, at 3% for the critics and at 21% for audience score, which is absolutely atrocious, meaning that both the critics and the audience are in unison at how rubbish this movie is. And let's say it how it is. This movie is nothing but a gigantic advertisement for Amazon. They knew what they were doing when they put this out, and you can tell from the movie, because oh my god, this has never revolved so much around, having Amazon benefits, or just Amazon this, Amazon that, in my life. Like in the climax of this movie, it all comes to a big thing where Ice Cube's character has to order this USB chip on Amazon, and it needs to be delivered ASAP. And oh my god, luckily one of our main characters is actually an Amazon delivery driver, and he can use a drone using Air Amazon to fly it to him instantly. And it's like, but he can only do that if he places an order on Amazon.com, and it's like, what on earth are you talking about? And then during the attack, the drone that he's using to fly it crashes over. There's a guy who's like hiding from the catastrophe, who's fearing for his life, and they're trying to talk to him. They're texting him somehow because they've managed to hack his phone and get his number so they can contact him. And they're saying, "Oh, please flip up the phone." He's like, "Oh, I don't know about this. There's a giant robot attacking, and I could die." And it's like, "Oh, well, what can we do to like ease him?" "Oh, let's give him like a $1,000 Amazon gift card." And then all of a sudden, $1,000 Amazon gift card. Oh yeah, I'll risk my life for that. Oh, I'll go for that. And he flips over the drone. I'm sorry? What? Excuse me? No, that's not how this works. That is ridiculous, and that is stupid writing. It is absolutely terrible. I am sorry. But this whole movie takes place online. It's a bit like one of the films, I don't know if you've seen them, like Unfriended, the horror movie Unfriended, films like that, where it's almost like trying to do found footage style, but also with real-time stuff as well. It all takes place on a computer, so via lots of different sites, like Microsoft Teams and Skype and Facebook and Amazon, all these things. It all takes place online, and you're darting between different screens all the time. And your main character, Ice Cube, who plays a character known as William Radford, who's this like surveillance and threat analysis person. He's like an expert on it for the Department of Homeland Security. He's like surveilling people all the time. Within the first 10 minutes of the film, he's surveilling his daughter. He's able to track what she's got in her fridge. He sees her going out to buy a certain item. He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, you should eat healthier." And it's like, you freak, what on earth are you doing? And he sets up that he's got this terrible relationship with his kids, ever since his wife passed away. I believe it's like 5 years at this point, and he constantly goes on Facebook and listens to a message, that one of the last messages that she sent to him before it happened. But they don't really give you any chance to get a proper connection with him, and you don't feel for him. You don't feel for any of the characters in this movie, because all these characters do act like creeps, and they do make the most insane, stupid decisions ever, And what my fiance was annoyed at in particular is the fact that obviously they change stuff, but every adaptation does change things. But in particular, the fact that we don't really, they do say that they are aliens, so to speak, but they never really fully explain where they fully came from. In particular, like give us a proper planet of origin or anything like that. They almost just feel like generic robots that do not, they don't really have a proper motive other than, get this, they want our data. That is the core thing of this movie, is they are after our data, and without our data, we're screwed. They take our data, and this is hilarious. I've seen it in other people's reviews as well, and I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. When the aliens are finally going full stretch, or the robots, whatever, the tripods, I think they call them, are in full swing. They're attacking different buildings, attacking people, and they're draining the data from the planet, and everything's going out, like the lights are going out, planes are crashing from the sky. But it's hilarious that without our data, our boats, this was the funniest part, our boats aren't able to move. They're not able to actually stay up. They will flip over. I'm sorry, but that's not how that works. Boats, there's something called buoyancy. Boats will not just, as soon as, data's gone, on my back now, I'm like a turtle, can't move. It is hilarious. The effects, the CGI, holy shit. It is absolutely atrocious. Me and my fiancée turned to each other multiple times, and she even said, is this like a video game? You know, because it felt like very video gamey graphics, you know, like PS1 era graphics. It was really bad. There's a scene where a plane gets shot down and it's doing like this barrel roll, and there's a guy who's in a plane next to it and is just turning there. It's almost like stock footage. And oh my goodness, the stock sound effects, the stock imagery that's used in here, it is horrendously bad. One of the first scenes towards the start when the aliens are invading and Ice Cube's daughter is trying to escape. She's got this massive pole sticking out of her leg, and she's like needs to get medical attention quick and get out of danger. She is trying to cross the road and go into a Tesla, which it was ridiculous. But she gets in the Tesla and is called, and she's talking to her dad, and then there's a quick almost blink and you miss it moment, but you can notice it, and it's clear as day. Where clearly, obviously, they're not where they're supposed to be, because they look up for a brief moment and you see clear skies, cars driving normally, and you see people on the side who are just walking along, eating ice cream, and it is like hilariously bad when it's supposed to be apocalyptic, everything's going wrong, people should be screaming, running for their lives. It is just really, really bad. And I've never, ever felt like I couldn't focus on a movie any more so than in this movie. You really get overstimulated in this movie because there's so much shit flying at you at the screen, and they are darting around like there's no tomorrow. You'll have about 6 or 7 different things going on the screen at once. You'll have like Ice Cube talking to someone in the one corner, while there's a map of the world in the other, while there's someone typing a message on the other one, while they're showing you the daughter in the one corner, his son in the other corner, which his son, by the way, is this hacker known as the Disruptor, who ends up helping to save the day. In one of the worst plot twists I think I've ever seen in a movie. It was so damn obvious that it was him from the get-go. Just everything about this movie was wrong. It was a terrible movie, and they got some big big-ish stars in this. Like I said, Ice Cube, Eva Longoria, Clark Gregg, which I haven't seen him around in a while, but he was in this movie as well. It turns out that he was a corrupt guy all along, because there's this thing going on where the government are trying to cover up an alien landing that happened many, many years ago, and they're responsible for all this. It's just, it is a mess of a movie. It is a terrible movie. I can just safely say, please do not watch this movie. And if you're a fan of War of the Worlds, watch any other version, or watch the musical, or just read the novel. You know, just don't. H.G. Wells be turning in his grave if he saw this, because this was horrendous. And like I said, I'm sorry that this was very jumbled and rambly, but that's exactly what this movie feels like. You cannot focus. It is terrible. The CGI is bad. The writing is horrendous. Ice Cube is just sat, you know, with a terrible like green screen behind him, it looks like a terrible green screen behind him, and he's just pulling faces like, oh. It's like, what on earth? He looks like he is just phoning it in. It looks terrible, and he's your core guy for the whole movie. Awful. Terrible movie, terrible CGI, terrible writing, terrible start, middle, and end. It's got the very basics of a movie. If I'm being honest, I would say if I was to rate this out of 10, I'd give it a 2 out of 10. Terrible movie. Don't go watch it. Avoid at all costs, and watch one of the other versions of War of the Worlds. Save yourselves. But yeah, I'm sorry that this has been a bit of a rambly, jumbly mess, but that's what this movie is. Like I said, it's terrible in every shape of the word. It is 89 minutes that I will never get back. But I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like it by giving me a thumbs up and comment down below. Did you suffer through this movie, or are you going to avoid it now? And what is your favourite version of War of the Worlds? And subscribe if you're new. But for now, this is the Nerdy Grail signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.